You know, as a person who has been doing these types of videos for more than 5 years now, I can actually tell you the history of diversity. At least the way that it was initially presented to the public. It all started pretty much after the Occupy Wall Street. It was kind of around 2014, I think, that it became incredibly popular. And the whole idea was that in order to tackle a problem, it's a lot easier to do so if you have a diverse range of opinions. So if you take a person from a rural area, you take a person from a city, and then you take an academic and an engineer, and you put them together to crack the problem, you're going to have a different array of solutions, different suggestions, and you have then the opportunity to pick the best one. And that's why they said that diversity is our strength, because by having a different range of solutions, then you can pick the best one, and you have an advantage of a person that has tunnel vision and can only tackle that problem from one angle. But what happens and what's interesting is that over time they believed that it wasn't the profession that humans had, and it wasn't necessarily the place where they grew up that matter. All that matter was their skin color. So this is what got Apple's chief diversity officer into trouble. She actually got fired over this because she said that a room with 9 white people is still diverse. And it was kind of hilarious that she got fired over that, because at the same time there were people that the media was calling them far-right extremists, which were suggesting online that diversity means non-white. But again, like at the time, the idea was that diversity actually means like diversity of thought. And I don't even know when they managed to do the switch, when it stopped being about ideas and opinions and just started being about skin color. But it definitely happened. And again, like in the beginning, it was like add more people of color into video games, add more people of color into comic books, and most people were fine with it. Was it like a big problem? Especially like if you look at the comic books and TV shows from the 90s, like they always had people of color. Like no one is against Blade, no one is against Cyborg, and you know, I mean, these characters always existed. The problem started appearing when they began replacing established characters with people of color. So like you had the character that you liked, for example, like Captain America, and all of a sudden he would be replaced through a changing of the mantle with another character. And it wasn't even like the race swap that was the problem. The problem was that the new character would have a completely different personality. And the race swap, I guess it was like a little bit extra, because like, why are you doing this? There's no need. And it went so bad that someone would go and they would see the Avengers on the big screen, and when they would go into a comic book shop, literally all the Avengers were different people. So someone that actually liked the movie wouldn't be able to pick up a comic book and enjoy it, because they would not know the history or the lore of those people. And that's when things like really started escalating, to the point where now, whenever there's a remake, whenever there's a new TV show, they have to race swap someone. Like you know they will. If they make a book adaptation over something, or if they make a sequel over something, they race swap. And it's not just that they race swap because they can't add new characters. Like if you were to make a remake of Gilligan Island, you know, like all the characters are already established, because they're stranded on an island. They just can't get new characters there. So what they do is like they take a character that's already established and they race swap it. But what they do more interestingly now is that even when they can add new characters, so for example, if they were to remake Stargate, let's say, right, like you can add new characters that are black, it's fine. No, they would take someone that's already established and they would race swap it for no reason whatsoever. So this is where we're at, right? And a lot of people are fed up with this because they realize it's corporate bullshit. It's not meant to help people enjoy video games more. It's not meant to help people enjoy TV shows more. It's simply there in order to create some outrage so that they get free publicity over social media. So like people are complaining about it, and by complaining about it, they talk about the video game, and that's the free advertisement that they're going with. So it's a horrible thing that they're doing, right? Completely divisive. Anime is very popular, doesn't have to do this shit. Anime is also very diverse, doesn't have to do any of this shit. But now it's culminating with the fact that, after spending more than 5 years of trying to indoctrinate people that it's incredibly important for others to see themselves in the media, like it's very important for you to be represented. And by represented, they don't mean like, your choices that you made in life, your hobbies, your jobs, your skills. Like none of those matter. Like the only thing that matters for them is your gender and your skin color, right? So the cock and pussy and your pedigree, that's the only thing that matters for you to enjoy a video game. And they spent a lot of money in order to try to indoctrinate people with this. Like go read any video game magazine in the last 5 years and you'll see that they churn articles like this nonstop, why representation matters and why it's important. So eventually, like, I guess, like, people started believing this to the point where they made a mod making Will from Baldur's Gate into a white dude, right? Because, like, I guess, like, white people who were indoctrinated into the idea that representation matters, they felt like, okay, well, I can't play with a black Will. Which is very weird because, again, like, back in the day, if a video game had a black character as the main character, like, no one would care. I remember when Matrix came out, like, a lot of people wanted to play with Morpheus. Like, it just didn't fucking matter. But, like, now it matters. And this is thanks to the anti-racists. Like, they spend a lot of time and effort to the point where people are now making mods to race swap characters. But, like, hey, like, a mod is a mod. Like, you just play it on your computer. It's the sanctity of your own bedroom. Why would they care? And the answer is because they're fascists. They genuinely are concerned with what your thoughts are, like what you're thinking, not just what you're doing and how you're behaving, but literally what you're thinking. And because of that, Nexus Mods decided to ban the mod that made Will white. Now, the mod still exists. It's on other places on the internet. But what's interesting is that someone else made the mod where all the characters are now black. And they made this mod, again, for the simple reason to prove a point. Like no one is actually asking for this mod, but like they just want to hammer the point in because this mod is not going to get banned, right? And if you read the terms of service on Nexus, it actually says that they do not support mods that remove diversity. And this mod actually adds diversity. So it is okay for this mod to exist because it does not violate their terms of service. Even though, like, this mod is a mockery of what they believe, and it goes to show that, yeah, like this is what diversity means. Like, even if every single character in the game is black, the game is diverse. This was also another discussion that I think it was like at a Norwegian film festival when a filmmaker was who made a movie from Norway during the Middle Ages, and he was being he was pointed out that, look, your movie is not going to win any awards because it's not diverse. And the topic of Parasite came out, which is a movie that did win awards, and all of the cast members there are Korean, right? It's a Korean movie made by Koreans. It's a very good movie. Got nominated for prizes, and that one is okay. But like, if you make a Norwegian movie where it's a white cast because it takes place in the Middle Ages, that one isn't okay, right? So I can understand, like if you're going to push it like this, eventually you are going to create segregation in fiction. Like, there are going to be people who will be unable to enjoy playing video games with characters of different skin colors because this is the 5 years of indoctrination we've been having. So there are going to be mods for every single video game, and if I go to American Outlier, which is a black subscriber of mine, really good friend, if I go to his house, probably every character will be modded black, right? And if it comes to my house, every character should be modded white. I guess like this, technically, like, this would solve the issue because representation is important, right? So like, it would be a self-fulfilling prophecy that they created, but of course in reality they don't like that. Which again, like is so bizarre. Like being concerned with how another person plays a video game is shocking to the extreme. I mean, this is a level of moral busybodying that I don't know. Like even the soccer moms during the Bush era, even like the church women, they wouldn't like it if kids had access to, but like as long as it was in your house and it was legal, like they didn't care. They didn't care the type of books that you read. They didn't care about the type of things you enjoy. They just didn't want it, I guess, like to be accessible to the general public if it was vulgar. But other than that, like, they were fine. So it is what it is. It's just like this caused a massive controversy, and I don't know why. Like this was definitely something that I would expect to happen. I do expect that Nexus mods, which are extreme, far left, radical as an organization that happens to host some mods on their website, I expected them to behave like this. But anyway, right, don't forget to check out the pinned comment in the comment section and let me know what you guys think. Take care.